Hey, I'm Matt O'Leary back with another video, and before we get started today, I just wanted to mention that you can follow me on social media at Matt O'Leary NY on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for all things New York Jets. So now that we got that out of the way, let's get started with today's video. Should the New York Jets trade Leonard Williams? Yes. All right, that's it. Thanks for tuning in today. That's it. No, I'm just kidding. We really got to get into this, but yes, they 100% should trade Leonard Williams at the trade deadline. Through the first 6 games this year, he has 0 sacks. He has been what they call a non-factor for the New York Jets. They would be 1-5 if he played. They would be 1-5 if he didn't play. They can go 6-10 without him this year. They can go 6-10 with him this year. He is not a building block. His career high in sacks came in 2016 when he had 7, a really promising sophomore season. Every year since then, though, he's regressed. This year, he has a 58.9 Pro Football Focus rating. He isn't a bust in the sense that he's not usable. He just isn't up to the caliber of player that a top 10 pick should be. In 2015, everyone was saying that this guy was the best player in the draft, and somehow he fell to the Jets. Well, now 4 years later, we know that is not the case. If he wasn't the best player in that draft, he would be getting double-digit sacks every year and being a game wrecker. He is not a game wrecker. He goes through spurts of time where he's completely invisible. Yes, on Monday Night Football, he did hit Tom Brady and cause an interception, but it was in garbage time. I've never seen this man get a big sack in his life, not once. So since this is the last year of his deal, the Jets would be wise to try and move on from him at this trade deadline and get some form of pick back, some compensation back, because you are not going to give him money long term. With drafting Quinnen Williams, it makes 0 sense to give big money to Leonard Williams and then have to pay Quinnen Williams in a few years. You already have big money or relatively big money into Henry Anderson, and you don't need to bring him back, especially because he just signed Steve McClendon for another year too. So there's another nose tackle under contract. So let's talk about some potential landing spots. Well, if you want to trade him so bad, where are you going to send him off to? Well, I could think of 3 places that make sense, all of which who have the cap space right now and have draft capital that they could trade to the New York Jets. The first is the Kansas City Chiefs. They are in win now mode. Yes, Patrick Mahomes is going to be out for a couple of weeks, but once he's back, this team is going to win that division. They're going to be in the playoffs, and they most likely are going to have a first-round bye. If I were to bet, I would say they have a first-round bye. This is a Super Bowl contender team. They just have one issue. Their defense stinks. One of their biggest things is they can't stop the run. In 4 out of the last 5 weeks, they've allowed over 180 rushing yards. In 4 out of the last 5 weeks. This is a common occurrence for this team. Leonard Williams might not be able to rack up the sacks, but I'll tell you one thing. He still is good against the run. Is he worth first-round pick or top 10 pick? No. Is he worth signing long-term? No. But that's not what the Chiefs care about. They care about winning this year, and Leonard Williams helps that cause. My second landing spot is the Oakland Raiders, and I know they're not really a contender, even though they're kind of in the playoff mix right now, especially in that wild card mix. They really are, actually. But they are rumored to be interested in Leonard Williams. This Raiders team gives up a ton of yards on defense, a ton. They are good at stopping the run, but they cannot defend the pass at all. That's why I don't know if Leonard Williams is a great fit, but if John Gruden likes this guy, which all signs point to John Gruden liking this guy, and the Raiders love to make trades, so it would not surprise me if the Raiders wanted to make a big splash at the trade deadline this year. My third landing spot is the Dallas Cowboys. Now, if you look at that team, offensively, they are very good. Is Dak Prescott inconsistent? Of course. But Amari Cooper, Ezekiel Elliott, Jason Witten back, elite offensive line, they are a very good offensive team. Defensively, they struggle. They're ranked 20th in the league in defensive DVOA, and they've gotten little production out of Antoine Woods and Christian Covington. They could use an upgrade to that defensive line in the middle. Can you imagine what that team could do with Lawrence and Quinn and Leonard Williams in the middle? Oh boy, that defense looks like it could be elite if they would make a trade like that, and that would put them over the top and make them not only a clear-cut favorite in the NFC East, but one of the favorites in the NFC overall, because that conference looks to be wide open. The last thing we have to talk about is compensation. All right, so we noticed the 3 teams that would make a lot of sense to trade him to. What are you looking to get for him? And I saw one CBS mock draft say that the New York Jets would trade Leonard Williams to the Ravens for a first-round pick, which is insane. That is utterly insane. You are not getting a first-round pick for Leonard Williams. That is crazy talk. Maybe you get a sucker team to give you a second. I would be, again, shocked, and I would be bowing down at the feet of Joe Douglas if somehow the Jets get a second. But I think your package is starting with a third-round pick. It could be straight up. It could be a third round and some sort of pick swap later. It could be a third round and a okay player, a depth player, but I think you are starting the conversation with a third round pick. And I am not sneezing at that. I know that Leonard Williams, yes, he was taken in the first round, so fans want to see either a first or a second rounder come back. I just don't think that's all that likely. And the Jets could use all the swings in the world in the NFL draft. In past regimes, I understand that they were terrible drafters and that they got nothing from the mid-rounds. But this new regime, Joe Douglas, has a much better track record at drafting, and this team lacks depth in every position. They need a ton. So they could use all the swings possible, and if you are not going to assign Leonard Williams long-term, which would be a mistake if they do, you have to trade him now and maximize his value and get as many picks back as possible. So if you can get something similar to what Dante Fowler got when he was traded to the Rams, a third and a fifth, I would do that and do cartwheels all day. Joe Douglas has a lot of work and a lot of decisions to make over this week and beyond. This one seems clear-cut. You have to trade Leonard Williams. Let me know what you think in the comments below, or you can get at me on social media at Matt O'Leary NY. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you next time.